Saiyan Rose Goku Black.
After the events that happened at school, Goku was sitting on the sofa at Rito's house, while the two Devi Luke sisters were staring at him. The place was completely silent, nobody said a single word, you could feel the tension throughout the room. I'm starting to feel uncomfortable with the looks from these two little girls, Goku thought as he looked at the two Devi Luke. But out of nowhere, someone appeared to ease the tension in the place. I brought some drinks, Rito's sister said, but upon seeing the scene she fell silent. Rito's sister, Mikan, wondered why the girls were so alert when they arrived with that man. But she didn't dwell on it and went to give the three of them their drinks at the table. The pink-haired girls thanked Mikan, and the Scion was confused to see what she had brought for him too, but he thanked Mikan anyway. He's a bit absent-minded, although I can't deny he's kind of cute, Mikan thought as she saw what happened. Upon realizing what she had just thought, Mikan's face turned bright red and she suddenly left the place. A few drinks later, Mikan returned calmer and started a conversation to ease the tension in the place. So, what's your name? Mikan asked looking at the Saiyan. My name? Well, my name is Son Goku, although you can just call me Goku, Goku said with a smile. Are they, Goku? What a strange name, Mikan said, laughing a little at the Scion's name. Goku also started laughing, but he didn't know why. But suddenly someone caught the Scion's attention. Stop mentioning names, and tell us why you wanted to challenge our father, Nana said angrily when she saw that they were being ignored. It is very rare for a person to dare to confront a god of destruction, Momo said as she took a sip of her drink. Is it really that strange to face a god? Goku asked, very doubtful, although he felt that he had been told that once, millions of years ago. Are you an idiot? Facing a god isn't an everyday occurrence, and the worst part is you're going to face a god of destruction. The person who is known throughout this universe as the strongest, with a power capable of destroying planets with just one finger, and bringing any mortal to their knees before him. Nana said the last part with pride, for obvious reasons. Upon hearing this, Goku simply replied, but I have challenged a god of destruction before, and not just one, but I have challenged all the gods of destruction in my multiverse to a duel. The Scion said the last part with a less than friendly smile. Those present were shocked to hear what the Scion said. None of them could believe what the Scion had just said. That's impossible. You didn't just face one god of destruction, you faced several gods? Nana said, very surprised, while Momo was still in shock. Facing several gods was a very long time ago, after I had faced the first god of destruction, Goku said, a little melancholic, as he remembered those times. But in a split second he returned to normal and asked the girls present the following. Although if you want, I can tell you the story of how I faced the first god of destruction. The girls nodded out of curiosity. And so Goku began to tell them his story. One story later, Goku had been recounting the battle he had against the god of destruction, Beerus, but he only recounted the most important parts, skipping over the unnecessary conversations he had. That means Vegeta was almost never mentioned. Mikan was surprised to hear the story, but Momo and Nana began to say that this story seemed similar to another one. Well, it seems my story has spread to many places, the Scion thought. Note, Goku thought the girls were referring to the stories they told, along with his legend. So if you were able to face a god of destruction back then, and then faced more, does that mean you could defeat a god of destruction right now? Mikan asked, thinking about what the Scion had said. That's right. If that were the case, it would mean I could fight and defeat my father right now, Momo said, looking at the Scion. Momo, maybe everything she said was a lie. After all, don't you see the level of power she has? With that power, I don't think she could even touch our father, Nana said, trying to defend her father. Well, the reason for my low power level is because I'm hiding it so as not to scare anyone, plus I've never fought at my maximum power, so I don't know the full extent of my power. Goku said this to clarify things. Well, after all, you're an acquaintance of Lord Vegeta, it was obvious that you should have been hiding your power. Moreover, I heard that Lord Vegeta hates having weak people around, Momo said, while trying to remember who told her. Very typical of Vegeta, he doesn't want weak people around because they get in his way when he fights. He has to keep protecting them. The Scion thought about it last, and just smiled when he saw that his rival hadn't changed. The two pink-haired girls, upon hearing the simple way in which the Scion referred to the king of everything in their multiverse, were very surprised and wondered how he dared to treat the name of such an important god so lightly. But they were quickly pulled from their thoughts by what the Scion said next. But I'm not just an acquaintance of Vegeta's, I'm also his friend and rival, Goku said, flashing a big smile. Upon hearing that, the two girls quickly responded with that's impossible. Goku looked confused at the quick response from the two girls. It is impossible for you to be Lord Vegeta's rival, since the only one he considers his rival is the guardian of all, the supreme god, Kakarot. Momo said, looking slightly angrily at the Scion. Goku, hearing that, was about to say that he was Kakarot, but he couldn't finish because he heard the door open and a loud, "We're back!" from Lala, who was with Rito. The two pink-haired girls went to greet their sister, but not Rito, since they didn't trust him yet. Goku went with them too. Well, it seems they're back, Goku said with a smile. Rito and Lala remained silent upon seeing the Scion. But what on earth is he doing here? Rito said, a little scared, when he saw that the Scions were here. Well, he's a guest, you see, Mikan said with a look that said, is he an idiot or what? Rito became even more nervous and scared knowing that the Scion was going to be at his house for a while. Meanwhile, Lala remained silent upon seeing that the Scion was here. Lala's two sisters, seeing how distracted she was, asked if she was alright, but received no answer. For some reason, Lala felt that the Scion was someone special to her, but she didn't know why. Rito noticed Lala's different behavior and wondered what was so special about the Scion that made Lala show a side of herself he had never seen before. The place had become confused by what was happening. Meanwhile, Mikan announced that she was going to make food to get everyone to stop standing still. A while later, those present were eating, while Mikan cooked. So you're saying you faced a god of destruction a long time ago? Rito said, looking at Goku. Goku simply nodded. From what I heard from my little sisters, that story you told sounds like the one about the guardian of everything, Lala said, looking curiously at the Scion. Goku, knowing he shouldn't reveal his identity as guardian in order to fight his father, said he was an acquaintance. But what the Scion didn't know was that Lala, a huge guardian fan, was about to bombard him with questions. But Goku was saved from her when Mikan said that the food was ready. Upon hearing that, the Scion quickly went to sit down and was ready to devour the food. Everyone had a drop of sweat on their face when they saw that. After eating, Goku asked Lala if she had already called her father, but she forgot, so she quickly left to call him. Well, it's time to ask him, Rito thought as he saw that Lala had finally left. Rito asked Goku if they could talk about something somewhere else. Goku agreed, but he was confused about what he wanted to talk about. Hearing this, the girls looked at Rito seriously, wondering if he was up to something. Rito was a little scared, but he went with the Scion anyway, so Goku went with Rito to a place where the girls couldn't hear them. So what are we doing here? The Scion asked. Tell me something, Goku, are you perhaps the guardian? Rito asked very seriously. Upon hearing that question, Goku said nothing, his head was bowed. You acted very strangely when we talked about your story, as if you were trying to hide your identity, Rito said, giving proof of it. Goku still hadn't said anything. Answer me, Rito shouted. And what if I am? A Scion said coldly. The Scion raised his head, revealing only silver eyes and a gaze as cold as ice. Upon seeing that, Rito began to tremble at the mere sight of the Scion's eyes, almost to the point of fainting from fear. Goku slowly approached Rito, but with each step he took, Rito's heart beat faster, as if his soul wanted to leave his body. It got to the point where the Scion was standing in front of Rito. Goku was slowly raising his hand. Rito, seeing the Scion's actions, closed his eyes, waiting to see what he would do, but at that time he could only feel a hand touching his shoulder. Rito opened his eyes, only to find a Scion smiling at him. Ha ha, you caught me, Goku said, still smiling. Rito went blank at what was happening. Wow, I didn't think you'd figure me out so easily. Rito came out of his shock upon hearing what the Scion said. So you are the guardian that Lala was waiting for? I asked Rito to confirm. What do you mean, that Lala was waiting? Goku asked, unaware of what the girl felt. Upon hearing that, Rito told the Scion what he knew. Note Rito didn't know much about the subject, he only knew that Lala was a big fan of his. Wow, I didn't know my stories had such an impact on people throughout the Omniverse, Goku thought in surprise. If you don't believe me, look what happened just from saying you knew the Guardian. I can't imagine what will happen when you say you are the famous Guardian. Rito said, while Goku laughed at the boy's expressions. But I still have a question, why do they say the Guardian's name is Kakarot? I ask a dubious right. Well, that's my Saiyan name. Goku said simply. Rito was confused by what he said. Goku noticed, so he began to explain. Another explanation later. That explains a lot. Rito said upon hearing why his name was different and why he hadn't appeared all this time. Rito was going to ask something else, but they were interrupted by Lala. What are you doing? Lala said. Rito was startled by Lala's sudden appearance. Goku, who already knew she was coming, wasn't surprised. So what are you doing here hiding so much? I asked Lala again. Nothing. They both replied after Rito had calmed down. Well, has your father arrived yet? Goku asked this time. Lala responded with a yes to what the Saiyan said. Upon hearing that, Goku got a little excited. After Lala said that, they went back to the room to tell the news to those present. So they stayed chatting while they waited for the pink-haired girl's father to arrive. A while later, a power could be felt across the entire planet. A divine pressure crushed all the weak beings on the planet. Living beings that could withstand the pressure began to tremble for no reason. Meanwhile, the boys already knew who had arrived. Get ready, Goku. One of the pink-haired girls said, knowing whose power it was. Everyone looked at the Saiyan, only to see that he had a smile. Everyone went outside to see Jin flying above them, displaying his superiority to everyone present. So your son Goku? Jin said, pointing to the only person with an extraordinary power. Goku just smiled when he saw that she noticed his power. It seems my daughter was right, you have a divine key like me, a god of destruction. Jin said, noticing the Saiyan's divine power. Well, what can I say, god of destruction Jin? I am someone who wanted to face you. Goku said challengingly. My daughter told me you're hiding your power, so I hope that power you're hiding isn't too disappointing. Since I had to travel so far alone to face you, Jin said, looking at Goku imposingly. Goku just started flying, catching up to Jin. And without saying a word, the two began to unleash their power. I hope you don't disappoint me, son Goku. Jin screamed, releasing a great deal of power, while smiling. But that smile didn't last long, as a terrifying power was felt throughout the universe. The Saiyan's hair turned silver, and an aura began to surround him. The Saiyan's eyes were the color that so characterized the perfect state of Ultra Instinct. The planet was plunged into abysmal pressure. Space collapsed at the mere presence of that monster. Solar systems became unstable from the sheer power released. What the heck? Jin shouted, a little scared as he felt that power. Get ready, Jin, Goku said with a smile, which made him look like a demon at that moment. Goku got into his famous fighting stance, ready to fight. The girls, who were on the ground from the pressure, were very surprised by the Saiyan's power. Lala, for some reason, felt as if she had found him. Everyone tried to stand up, but to no avail, as the pressure was too great. I'm surprised, son Goku. I didn't think you had so much power. And that's why. I won't let you beat me, Jin said, also assuming a fighting stance, though he was sweating a little as he thought about what monster he was facing. Goku just smiled when he heard that. The two were about to launch into combat, but out of nowhere a voice interrupted their fight. Kakarot. Someone very familiar to everyone shouted. End of chapter.